package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail, those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with my monthly channel update for July 2018. Weather is finally starting to warm up a little bit. I mean, we still have a month of winter to go, but hopefully it should, be tolerable. It's actually sunny outside and I've got the door open, and this is actually my first time in my game room for the entire week, so it's nice to do, and I have a limited amount of time before I've got to go and do a dad's taxi, so let's get on with it. So other pickups, there are a few. There may have been some that I maybe even missed out of last month's as well, so obviously at some stage going through the special bins at EB Games, I found another PlayStation VR game. I have not had a chance to even put it into the machine though. I'll explain why. I have been playing on my PlayStation 4, but one particular game's been keeping my interest, and this one is Super Stardust Ultra VR. This was like $8 or $9 in the special bin, so looking forward to having a go at that, because obviously I like all things sort of space thing, and it'd be nice to get a real, in-depth VR space shooter. Hopefully I don't get nausea from playing that one. Also, a local friend of mine, Damien, actually went to Adelaide for a bit of a holiday. I went around a few. He actually mainly went to some EB Games. I don't think he got to a market or anything like that. And he thought I might be interested in these two titles, and I hadn't gone and picked them up because I hadn't seen them anywhere. Although I think the day he was over there, it's a funny story. I actually found one of them and thought, oh, I don't have any cash on me right now, I'll come back. And it was actually later that day he texted me and said, look what I found you. So they are the Atari Flashbacks Classics, and we have Volume 1, and as I quite literally have not had a chance to play these, but I'm looking forward to see what they're like. I've heard people say they're a little bit too high res, but we'll see. There's obviously lots of enjoyable games on there. And Volume 2, I think the Volume 2 was $9. My memory is terrible at the moment, and I think this one was $15 maybe, and I haven't even seen a copy of that anywhere. Not that I go into EB Games and JB Hi-Fi that often and look around titles, but these sort of ones I just generally don't tend to see. I mean, the most to do is usually flip through the pre-owned special bins at the front of the store. I don't actually go in that often. So actually looking forward to trying those out and seeing what they're like. I do occasionally live stream from my PlayStation 4, and they appear on my Electric Adventures Gameplays alternate channel, because I try and I did that so I could just not feel guilty about just doing a live stream and publishing it straight away. I try and keep the content on this channel as stuff that I produce. I mean, I'm probably making it too hard for myself, but anyway, I do have another channel, Electric Adventures Gameplays. There's not a lot of content on there. I mainly do the Tubers High Score challenges on there, although occasionally I do them on this channel as well. Anyway, but other random, YouTube streaming gameplays from the PlayStation 4 appear on that channel. So you probably see me playing those on there. Now another pickup, and actually I've realised as I picked this one up I've forgotten another one. I'll have to actually find where I've put it in the room. It's behind me. So this is actually there was a video that I only just published about stuff that arrived from Japan. This arrived a couple of days earlier in a separate box, and I'd forgotten about it, so I didn't include it in that video. And it is actually a missile game, which is it has some electronics in it, but it is mostly based on actual physical mechanics. The box is in pretty decent condition for what it is. The unit is not working. There's no interior foam or instructions, but I'm quite happy. But other than that, it actually looks in really good condition. It's a very big, chunky unit, and it does use batteries. I put batteries in, and there's no lights coming or anything like that, so I'll have to have a bit of a go. You basically have a hard, clicky like timer, and that's not clicking. So I'd say I just need to get in there and take it apart and put the gears back together and just check what's wrong with the electronics. It doesn't look like it's even had a battery leak. It's actually a really clean unit, and it's, if you can have a look, it's a bit of a Space Invaders one. So there's no LED or anything like that, so the physical component just has light in here, and the things are coloured. Me moving this back and forth physically moves that back and forth. I don't think you're going to be able to see that because there's no light. Oh, you can sort of, right, see the ship moving back and forth, and the same thing for the aliens. They actually physically move back and forth as well. So it's got some electric motors in there and things like that. So it's good old basic electronics. I should be able to maybe fix it, and it's in really good condition. There's hardly a scratch on the thing. So I remember these from back in the day because they were in the store that I used to work in, and I can remember having a bit of a play of this one. And it was pretty much the same. It was obviously just you've had the same unit, and they just put it in a different box when it came over here to Australia. I can't remember what it was called over here, and I don't know what that text says, but other than that, it's just missile fighting game. Alright, so I'm going to stand up and get that other thing. Right, back. So, the other thing I missed was, while I was in line at JB Hi-Fi buying my copy of Ready Player One. No, I haven't brought my copy of Ready Player One out, but I will talk about it in a minute. I saw these sitting in the aisle, and I thought, well, I don't have any of these mini arcade cabinets, and it was on special, so I thought, why not? It's actually quite a nice little unit. Now, it is a obviously the games are NES Famicom versions, so they're not the actual arcade versions, but it actually, you know, the controls aren't too bad. There we go, there's the unit there. I think I've left the batteries in there. There's the switch. No. So the screen's not too bad, and all the games are named not their real things. This is called Galaxy Battle, but it's obviously the NES version of Glaga. That sounds not too bad through the speaker and everything like that, and it's good for a good little bit of fun. And you can go back to the menu easily, and there's all sorts of, you know, penguins and shooting penguins, and so good novel little unit. I do like these mini arcade cabinets. I wish I could find more at an affordable price. There were a whole heap of ones that were in our local supermarkets. Most of them were black and white. I think some other people have gotten shown them getting them, yeah, you know, find them and they're cheap enough, I might get a couple others. And I have seen some other little mini arcade cabinets around, just that our retail stores seem to sell them for probably a bit too much, so I'm not willing to waste my money on them. Now, next thing is the game that's been taking up a bit of my time this month, and I still have actually been playing Diablo 3 on the PlayStation 4, but not a lot. But then the new update for No Man's Sky came in, and I haven't actually played No Man's Sky for ages. And put it in perspective, I bought this game just about launch, didn't pay a lot of money for it, actually played the game for a while and really enjoyed it, but got bored. Now, with all of the latest updates, so this is No Man's Sky, so I bought it out as a prop. All the updates, they've added a lot more things that, you know, you can build bases, you can customise your ship, and there's a lot more to the game. And I know they've released updates before, but I've never started my game again, so I thought, well, it's been enough time since I've actually played the game before. So I'll start again. Now, I haven't got very far, because unluckily you get like a random thing. I've ended up with a barren, cold planet. I've actually died 7 times already, which is pretty bad considering I, you know, have actually played the game before. And I still haven't repaired my starship yet, so I haven't got very far and actually been able to see much of the new content. There are snippets here and there, you can see some of the changed gameplay, but I can't give you too much of an opinion on the new gameplay. But I am enjoying playing it, other bar the frustration of not being able to get very far. And I remember even when I played it the first time, it took a little while to get going. I've just been unlucky starting with that sort of a planet. I'll probably have one more session, and if I don't get a decent amount of thing, I'll probably just start again and try and get a better luck of the draw planet to start on. Just so much pressure on a cold planet, and you have to constantly keep your environmental suit protection stuff, so otherwise you freeze to death all the time. And then it's also barren, so there's really not a lot near my spaceship, so I've got to walk a long way, and you've sort of got to take a gamble of actually getting to a place. I've actually gotten to things and gotten to a thing, but I've died, and luckily I've done the particular thing, but that doesn't quite feel right. But anyway, I'm enjoying that. I like those sort of games that have got a bit more depth and you can take your time and do what you want in them. So I probably have quite a few games like that in my PlayStation 4 library. Other than that, on the PlayStation 4 I've been playing Pinball Arcade. That's my casual game on the PlayStation 4, so I'll either play that or I'll play a bit more of one of the larger games. So the other thing was, yes, I bought a copy of Ready Player One. I got the 4K version, so that's actually my third 4K Blu-ray now, and it was definitely worth getting the 4K version for Ready Player One. It was a movie that I really enjoyed at the pictures, and we watched it again as a family at home when we got it, and we enjoyed it just as much as we did the first time we watched it. So that I can see that movie is going to be just an enjoyable movie that we can watch on a regular basis as a family together. I think they did a very good job of it, and for a movie that probably could have been an absolute disaster with the number of things in it. So they actually handled the subject matter. I'm also trying not to do spoilers because some people mightn't have actually seen the movie, and I know some people are showing, oh look, I've got my Blu-ray or DVD and I'm watching the movie for the first time. So I won't spoil the movie other than the fact that I really enjoyed it, and it's now one of my favourite films. So I only have 3 4K discs. I have Blade Runner 2049, which is definitely my favourite, Ready Player One, second favourite, and The Last Jedi, which was probably a waste of time getting on 4K, so it would have just been fine on Blu-ray. I like bits of The Last Jedi, but there are too many things in it that annoy me, so I've never found that before in any Star Wars movie, of not paying attention to the movie when rewatching it. My attention zooms in on the bits that I really like, which is probably just the space battle sequence at the start, because I love space battle stuff, and of course the big lightsaber fight with Snoke. Once again, not saying anything else, don't want to spoil it for the few people out there that haven't seen it. Alright, now next, other than that, my room is a mess. There is one more pickup, so I'm going to have to pick you up for that, so excuse for a cut for a second while I do that. Right, now my fellow podcast member Aaron has been doing some cleaning up, and he actually gave me this. It's an 11-inch Sony PVR. It has a really nice picture, the sound works, and so it's perfect for my workbench area where I'm testing things, and plus I have actually my PlayStation 2 under there, and it's now allowed me to tidy up all these monitors. So I have this LCD monitor here which flips between portrait and horizontal, so I can play. So I've got an older game elf plugged in there at the moment, so I can test my my arcade boards, and you can flip it around easily. And then I was able to properly set up my Amstrad monitor, and I can plug either of my Amstrads in here. So it's just cleaned up a little bit of space. I mean, well, clean up's a subjective word. The bench is in a mess. You can see the Gigatron there. I've actually recorded some assembly of that. Got interrupted and haven't gotten back to it, and also haven't edited. Do have enough content to edit a first video in that series, but I haven't done the editing, so my apologies. Alright, we'll reverse the other side of the room so I can continue with arcade news. Hope nobody's getting seasick. And I said the room is a bit of a mess. So I have gotten out my original Tato clean skin cabinet. So this is a cabinet. Tato cabinet's never been used for anything. As you can see, I've got the Coimic there. Today, now that it is sunny, I am going to sand the top of this cabinet. because it's just been sitting in a warehouse and it's had some water dripping on it. So sand it, repaint the top black. Need to cut a little bit bigger hole for that particular coin mech to go in there, and that'll finish off that bit, because I want to make this as original as possible. I have a working monitor here that came out of a local friend Gary's test rig that he picked up with all the arcade boards, so that's going in there. Now we'll be missing a bezel, so I'm going to have to work out how I'm going to create one of those. Maybe I might have to figure out how to use fiberglass or something, make myself a mould and make one, because I'm really not sure where I'm going to be able to get one. But anyway, I'm going to mount the monitor inside and then see how it looks size-wise and everything like that. Yes, cat. Yeah, so I'm going to do some of that today. So, well, I've got a bit of sun after I get back from my taxi duties with my daughter. So over here, absolute complete mess pile. We have the Space Invaders cabinet and the originally badged Donkey Kong cabinet, which is Gary's. And here we have my original arcade cabinet, which obviously looks a little in pieces because I have sent the monitor chassis off for repair. Now it did work, but it had terrible smearing, and the smearing was getting worse. So obviously it has a capacitor or two, or some pots on the board that are not well. So Aaron was sending off a board that was in a monitor board that was even in worse condition, so we sent them over to give it a safe freight. So they go over to Western Australia, the guy works on them, and then he has to look at them, see what's wrong with them, and then you can he either repairs them and sends them back, or he offers you you know, rebuilt replacements that are compatible. So that'll get that machine up and running, and it's actually really funny. You're probably not going to be able to see that, and you don't notice this burn in, but if that comes out for you guys, put in the comments below what the game was that was used by this monitor originally. See if you can work it out. It's quite fun, and I actually enjoy that game, although this cabinet doesn't have enough buttons for those that are aware. Alright, we'll go back and sit down and I'll answer a question. Right, back. So there was a recent video by Metal Jesus Rocks and his local crew of friends that he gets on and has on his channel on a regular occasion, all up in I think they're in Canada, aren't they? And he asked the question, what game or game series do you collect everything for? Now everything is a subjective word. Metal Jesus himself doesn't collect a lot of paraphernalia associated with the games, but he collects, you know, the same game across multiple systems, and I'm similar. I probably actually would have some, you know, merchandising for the series because I love the series so much, but I don't. So, but I do have a lot of games, and it is none other than the Gradius Nemesis series. Now these are in no particular order. I probably could have been clever and done these in chronological order, but then I'm too lazy and I have to redo this stack. These are just how they've come off the shelves. So it is none other than the Gradius series. So we're starting with Gradius 3 on the Super Famicom. It is not a bad version of the game on the Super Famicom. It does unfortunately suffer from a bit of slowdown. So really nice graphics and quite nice gameplay, but the gameplay, especially when you get to this bubble stage here, slows down heaps. But I do enjoy playing it. I can get quite a decent way through it. Next, flipping over to the PlayStation Portable, we have the Gradius Portable, which has quite a few versions of Gradius on the collection. These collections on the PSP are one of the best things about the PSP. They are really good arcade perfect versions, and they have pretty much every version of every game. And yeah, it's just a really good collection. Now, I believe there is a Salamander collection as well or something, but I don't have that one. So I have the PlayStation thing. So, now, flipping over, these really are in random order. And this is one that not a lot of people will have, and it is a homebrew conversion of Gradius from the MSX across to the Coleco. Now, the Coleco needs to have a Super Game module, which basically all it is and the Coleco's only got 1K of RAM, so it gives it 32K RAM instead of 1K RAM, and the MSX sound chip. So the Super Game module is not very complicated itself, but it allows pretty much the Coleco turned into almost like a consoleized MSX. And he converted the game Gradius. Now, a little bit naughty here on my opinions. Converted is a little bit of a misused word here. He basically grabbed the original code from the MSX, changed a couple of things, and got it working. So, very kudos on a larger game, because this is a larger cartridge. It is more than 32K, so I would have had to use a Super Game cartridge, and more than the usual lazy port. Because another one of my friends who does ports from the other systems and things has set a new record. He did one in 24 hours. So, being a person who writes games from scratch, and these games get sold for the same price as ones that can take 6 months to a year to write, it does rub me the wrong way, a little one. But I still bought a copy, so I'm actually, yeah, anyway, because I love Nemesis Gradius, and I'm a collector as well as a gamer. Now, going over to the PlayStation 2, I actually only have one game. I'm missing Gradius, I believe there's a Gradius 5, so I have Gradius 3 and 4. These are really, really good versions. They play very well, very nice graphics, and this got, when I was really into my PlayStation 2, and I was into my PlayStation 2 in a big way. It was my main modern system. For quite a while, I played this heaps. So, one of my favourite versions. This one's a little bit of a cheat, but I actually have the Konami Antiques MSX collection, and on Volume 1 is Nemesis. For those being observant, it's right there in the middle. You can see the skeleton bits there. There we go. So I included that. Right, going over to the Sega Saturn. I don't have the MSX collection for the Saturn. That one, see, the PlayStation one's on 3 discs. I have all those 3 discs. I don't know how I managed to do that, and they didn't cost me very much money. The Saturn one, which is 1 disc, seems to go for stupid amounts of money. So there's been lots of copies. I've bid on them, but not prepared to pay the price. So for the Saturn, I have got the Gradius Deluxe pack, and I believe there are some newer ones. So this is just Gradius 1 and 2. They are very, very nice on here though. Obviously the Saturn has quite good use of colour and is very good for 2D shoot 'em up. So very good solid versions. And probably even better on the Saturn is the Salamander Deluxe pack. So that's got Salamander Life. So the original Salamander, and then they have a separate one called Life Force, but I thought that was just the renamed one. I'm a bit confused there. And then True Salamander 2. So, but these versions are amazing. The colours really pop. They are fast. Controls are very responsive. Really like that one, and really, really appreciated getting hold of a copy of that when I did. I've had it for quite some time, so I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't too bad at the time. So can't afford to buy Saturn games at the moment though. The prices are way too expensive. And then we go over to the PC Engine. And these versions were my favourite versions until a couple of those Saturn ones came along. So but these are still very playable and probably slightly more affordable than the Saturn ones. So we have the original Gradius, definitely a very, very solid version. As you can see, all my copies are in really good condition. We have Salamander, also awesome on the PC Engine. And I haven't had this version too long, and this is for the Super CD-ROM, is Gradius 2. And that's a very solid version. The music, of course, because of the CD, is fantastic. And yet there is more. And then we have Gradius for the Famicom. I just realised I actually do have Gradius for the actual NES as well. I should have included that, but anyway, I'll take a picture at the end with everything and you'll be able to see those. This version is surprisingly good and doesn't suffer from as much slowdown as you would have think it would on the Famicom and the NES. So very, very solid version, very enjoyable. I've had this particular version for quite some time, and I've had the NES version longer than that, so really do enjoy that. I'm quite surprised at how good that is, and also quite surprised it took me a bit longer to get this version for the Famicom. Is Gradius 2. Probably does suffer a little bit more slowdown, but it looks beautiful for a Famicom game. So very pleased with that one. And I realised I have forgotten a couple for that system, so slight cut. Right, back again, sorry. Yes, I do actually have Salamander for the Famicom as well. Once again, a really surprising good version of the game and the series. Oops, hold it upside down. Has an interesting cartridge as well. I'll also show you that. It's actually quite novel. You see loose copies of it all the time. It's actually a clear cartridge. You can see all the workings inside it. Mine's complete bar missing the instructions, but I'm happy because it's another game that took me quite a while to get hold of a decent copy for the Famicom. And then, yeah, these versions are identical. You have Gradius and Life Force, Salamander in other words, for the NES. I've got those, no boxes or anything like that. Well, I had these copies for quite some time. They're very good. And then we go over to the system where it all started at home anyway, and we have the MSX versions. So we have Nemesis, as it was called, which is the version that Coleco version has been ported from. So I'm pleased to have a complete copy nowadays. I had a loose copy for ever so long. It was one of my original cartridges that I'd had for a long time. There's the actual cartridge in there, but I managed to upgrade it to this complete copy, which is good because it's a series that I definitely love. And now we get to the rarer stuff on the MSX. So not as rare, you can get copies of this and not have to sell a kidney. We have Nemesis or Gradius 2, and this is where, and this is amazing that this is still on an ordinary MSX. It does have an SSC sound chip, so it's one of the first instances of the SSC sound chip. So that's an FM sound module, so you have the sound channels in the MSX plus another 3 sound channels from the SSC chip. It's an 8 megabit ROM, and it is magnificent. It's also very hard. And you don't see copies very often, but they are more than some of the other ones I've got here. So manual's in nice condition, and there's the cartridge there, and it's all in this lovely nice solid box. Just watching my stack, it's getting a bit wobbly. And then you have Nemesis 2 Part 2. Now this is a slightly harder game to get hold of. My box is in pretty good condition. It's got a little bit of plastic shrinkage up the top there, but as you can see, different take on it. This one is both MSX and MSX2. I'm not sure what it does differently when you plug it into MSX2 to an MSX1, but it's definitely a very, very good game. Another huge cartridge with an SSC module. Let's have a look at the insides. So, manual's not too bad. And there's the cartridge. And last but not least, and probably the title out of those that I've actually had the longest besides the Nemesis, is actually Salamander. So this is the one that was released second after Nemesis itself. It has the SSC sound chip, works on original MSX, and has excellent gameplay. And the MSX versions are the only ones that have certain levels. So they're the only place you can play certain levels of all of the home conversions. So they are very good items to have. So there we go. There is a title series that I like to collect for, and I definitely don't have all of the games yet. There's still actually more out there. It is such a large collection. I do have a Konami Shooters collection book as well, which I suppose you can include in the collection as well. That is hidden over there. I didn't think of that till then. But I don't really have a lot of actual collectibles. I wouldn't mind a Viper model. There's quite a few plastic model kits of the Vipers. I haven't seen any toys or anything like that, and I don't have a decent poster. So they're sort of things that I would like to get at some stage when I get a chance. What series or whatever do you collect everything for? I know one of my daughters collects everything Zelda. She loves that. And another one collects everything Harry Potter. So she's got all the games and stuff like that. So some of the games for the GameCube and things like that are my daughter's, not mine. Alright, that's probably enough rambling for this month. So in a way, a very busy month behind the scenes. I do have a few videos in the works, so look out for those. Some more pickups, some more Electric Adventures of the games. I have done some more homebrew work. I did a video earlier in the month on progress on Berserk for the ColecoVision. I'll put a link down below for that. I haven't done any more work on Sydney Hunter. Still having trouble managing work and life and children and things like that. But things are starting to get, I can see them gradually improving, so I try and not let it bring me down, because I do feel bad for not progressing the homebrew stuff, but you understand, we do this stuff in our spare time, and if you don't have spare time, it makes it very difficult. Alright, I hope everybody out there is enjoying their retro gaming, and I always enjoy watching other people's pickups, gameplays, and discussion and questions, so yeah, good luck to all your hunting out there. I'm Electric Adventures, thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.